Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerds Movie Podcast. I'm here again with Alex and Matt, who are sporting some very cool shirts. I would be wearing mine, but my son decided to get food on it. But yeah, so we have these shirts. They're not really for sale, but if you're interested,
background.
Yeah, if you're interested, reach out to Matt. And maybe we can get something going.
The other guy.
Yeah, and I guess the plan eventually is to do more merch in some way, whether it be shirt designs or thongs.
Thongs would be nice. Yeah, I'd wear one.
What is it? Merkin? Is that the wrong term?
No, that's the I believe that's the toupee for the pubic hair.
Oh
yeah. We should get into that market.
You look like Mo from Three Stooges.
Toupee? What?
Yeah, Merkin is a toupee for your pubes. You know.
Don't Google it.
I just don't understand what person in their right mind is like, I don't have any pubes. What a shame. Like, who the fuck? Like, what? Pubes don't do shit. They literally have served no real purpose because we don't live out inside anymore.
What's the one that Erlacher did?
Oh,
they
the hair.
Your hair?
Yeah, I don't know, but him with hair doesn't look good. Like, it just looks weird.
Would they implant your hair to the? Yeah. Okay, never mind.
No, it's a toupee, not.
I'm saying. I was asking about the one that Erlacher.
So you're thinking of the future of Merkins. Then you're going light years ahead. Boy, you better patent that, my friend.
The Merkin technology we have is not there yet.
It's literally
rebuild.
It's literally like the sixth day.
$6 million theme.
Well, no, it's the sixth day with Schwarzenegger where they're cloning, but instead it's like we can bring back your pubic hair.
We just need to remove it.
Yeah, that's a horror movie where the Merkin is fucking haunted and takes over.
Oh
people.
God! Thanks for introducing that to me today.
They've had, you know what? You're old enough. If I know about it, you have to know about it.
Well, I didn't know about it until now, but thank you.
It was his burden. Now it's your burden.
I bestow you upon you.
This episode will be titled Godzilla versus Kong versus the Merkin, I guess now.
Merkinzilla.
The Merkinzilla.
So I know we're jumping all over, and I forgot to say this off air before, but Lewis had texted me he didn't like how they did Mechagodzilla, and because they made him too Transformers-like. And I do kind of agree with you, but I don't feel the big bulky fucking old school Mechagodzilla works modernly.
I wanted that.
Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of
that.
Why with all the modern metals and everything and futuristic technologies would they make this big fat ass fucking bulky like Mechagodzilla? Like, when you think about it, they had to do something. That was
So we've alluded to the movie we're reviewing, Godzilla vs. Kong, and we'll jump into it. I'll start the rigmarole and all that. But you've seen the movie Ready Player One, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So you've seen the classic mecha. It looks so good.
I know,
but it does look very like Power Rangers-ish compared to...
I think Jen wanted me to title this episode Godzilla vs. King Kong, Godzilla's a punk-ass bitch, or something like that. Because she was Team Kong the whole movie. And to be fair, this movie doesn't really allow you to be Team Godzilla till the end. Like, if you're just watching it neutral from the beginning, you're like, why is Godzilla being a dick? Like, Kong's just trying to live his life.
If you are watching the movie, though, you understand why Godzilla is being that way. But if you were the actual people, then you'd be like, "What the fuck? What did we do to you?"
I mean, and realistically, the whole grudge match only exists because it's two assholes saying "I'm better than you are." Like, it's just two egos. I mean, because that's how they present it. Yeah.
I have a problem with that, but we'll just jump into it. So Godzilla vs. Kong is the movie we're reviewing. This just came out on HBO Max. You can also see it in movie theaters because those still exist. So this movie, directed by Adam Wingard, who did Death Note, which
VHS
was
short too, didn't
he? He did The Guest. He did Your Next. He did Death Note. He did the remake of Blair Witch, the 2016 one, which is actually it's not bad. And he's doing Face Off as well.
The sequel, not remake, sequel.
So the one that goes like that, and
the Face Off. Once again, everybody quotes that, but the best quote is, "Peach, I could eat a peach for hours." That's the most underused quote in that movie that nobody talks about. Sorry, go on.
So, so Adam Wingard, this is another one of those things where studios just pick someone who's not
Yeah, like,
super well known, and they're like, just take this really expensive property.
you're gonna blow up or be ruined.
So, runtime of 113 minutes. Budget was 155 to 200 million. This movie overseas has
Big
made.
gap, though.
Well, yeah, and granted, when you add, well, no, marketing's not the same anymore because they didn't market this movie as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're also
They didn't go nowhere.
well, you're also employing more digital shit too, though. Like you've moved away from traditional, like we need to put marketing here, here, and here. And I guarantee you, while you saw commercials, but the commercials are always in like HBO Max, so there wasn't a whole lot of just. But online, it was banners, it was trailers, it was ads. So the marketing has shifted to an online focus because not a whole lot of people overseas or here are going to the theaters. Unlike China, you started it, and no.
Which, so box office though, this thing has already made 145 million dollars, which is fucking cool. But there's some bad news before we actually jump into the movie. So this is by Legendary Pictures. They did all of the MonsterVerse movies, which is Kong, Skull Island, Godzilla, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and now this one. The license to all of the Godzilla movies is licensed by Toho. So all of the cheesy Godzilla movies you've ever seen, that's licensed by Toho. Legendary just lost the license for the MonsterVerse movies, which is why there's no end credits scene alluding to another film, because right now Legendary's like, we don't know if we can make another one. We don't have the license anymore.
So how do you lose a license if you're already
because they pay for it for a certain amount of time, and Legendary's been sitting on the license for the Toho films for access to all of Godzilla's rivals, like everything, for 10 years now. And in 10 years they've only released 4 movies.
Yeah.
So yep. Kind of sucks. But
yeah.
I don't know. Who knows where to go from here? Technically,
is it Lionsgate's universe, or does Toho own any of the investment into that universe?
No, Toho owns it all, but Legendary just has access. But they had access to using all of the monsters,
and they didn't. So
they didn't.
Could this same universe be produced at a different studio, or is the universe itself Lionsgate property of this storyline?
No, I mean, if someone purchases the license, they could use whatever they want.
Continue the storyline in their own image, in their own way, if they wanted.
I imagine Legendary is going to try to put some money to get it back, because these movies have made. Oh God, I was looking at the numbers. They've definitely made enough money between all 4 of them.
Yeah.
But I even remember going back to Skull Island, Kong Skull Island. I was like, how come they're not pumping out more of these?
Yeah, I mean they're easy. For one thing,
yeah,
these type of movies are the carnivals of cinema because they're accessible to the whole family. They rake in cash, and they're a spectacle, even in a small form. Like, people love these. I really like this fucking movie. Like, people like these movies because they're easy to digest, and it's just big, fun explosions, and So, like, Lewis is right. I don't know why they don't make more of them. You could literally have... They're cash cows. Make them good, and they're cash cows.
It's the same with the Pacific Rim movies, which both of them made their money back. Like, I don't know why...
You know what the problem with things like Pacific Rim are, though, is the people who bitch about them. Because number 2 wasn't as good as number 1, they were deemed shit because Guillermo del Toro didn't come back for number 2. And then the fans kill franchises because then they poo-poo all over them, all over the place. And the studio goes, well, like, we had 2 good runs, fuck that universe, because why would we risk losing money on a film that they may not like?
Would it also be the actors, too, of what they're going to pay them eventually, or no?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's... But you gotta remember, Pacific Rim 2 had a whole different cast.
Yeah.
Which was... I mean, who would they have that was... with what's-his-face from Star Wars, right? John
Boyega, yeah.
I think he was the most popular. And they had a couple returning, but, it was mostly new.
The crappy part is Pacific Rim, the first one that was 2013. So when Guillermo del Toro's original plan, since he knew the MonsterVerse was starting up again, was that if you notice in the movies, like technology advances and advances. In this last one, it's like it's the fucking future.
Yeah,
Del
spacecraft,
Toro's
inverse tech
Del
gravity.
Toro's original plan for Pacific Rim was to eventually have Godzilla fight in Pacific Rim, like with Jaegers, and that's never gonna happen now. Like, that sucks.
I mean, here's the thing: is I love the lore and everything of these, but how come why hasn't there been and I'm not trying to say this in like America, but like, why haven't the Americans come up with a story with Titans involved? You know what I mean?
Well, we've had Cloverfield. That was J.J. Abrams.
That's not a Titan. Yeah. That was a sperm drop from space.
That was yes. It was Alien.
Like, but think about it. If you could take some sort of mythology or create a new mythology that had titans and things, it doesn't even have to necessarily be creatures. Use gods or something that, whatever. You could have these spectacles.
They tried Clash of the Titans, but that remake was fucking shit.
Yeah, they weren't good is the problem. Like, the problem is it's like people have like good ideas, but then the execution is like bad. And then, I'm sorry, but I don't know why anybody ever would cast Sam Worthington in anything. He is the most, he's got no fucking charisma in his entire body. Like, the only role he was ever in that was believable was Avatar, because he acts like somebody that's fucking depressed that they're paralyzed from the waist down. I don't get why people like this guy. And you put him in your movie, it's automatically a fucking dud. Liam Neeson can't save every fucking movie by playing Zeus.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem. Get somebody, like, I mean, I'm sorry, Chris Hemsworth wasn't all that much back then. You couldn't have gotten his muscular ass in that fucking role.
Although, if you've just finished Godzilla vs. Kong, you're like, I want to watch a cool movie like this, like Pacific Rim, but there's nothing that kind of jumps out. I would argue the 1990 American classic RoboJocks.
It's on Prime, right?
The best movie. I don't know if it's on Prime.
No, we just found it, Alex. Didn't you share it with him?
I believe it is on Prime.
It's either Prime
I own the
Hulu.
DVD.
Yeah,
I
do too.
It's a great fucking movie.
It's not on Blu-ray. It's only on DVD.
New HD.
No. They actually, there's a 2015 Blu-ray cut you can find. That's a little hard to find.
$374 UK.
Yeah, it's that movie to me growing up was like, I want to see a movie like this on the big screen. And then I got Pacific Rim, and I love the Pacific Rim movies.
I mean,
we ended up buying that movie at fucking Suncoast Video of all places.
I mean, I would almost recommend, if you want tastes of some of this sort of stuff, like a good movie would be like Troll Hunter.
I would agree.
Like, there's not a whole lot of these movies with these big giant spectacles anymore. You can't go wrong with the 1996 classic Godzilla, starring Matthew Broderick and
Gojira or Godzilla.
Half of the voices from The Simpsons.
Also, I'm in the camp with Matt. The Peter Jackson King Kong movie is not only the best King Kong movie to me, but it's just a good fucking movie.
It's 2 hours and 45 minutes long, and it doesn't really feel like it. There's a lot of variety, because when they go to the island, like, they fight the creatures, and I don't know, like, and the cast is great in that movie. I love that movie. Now, I will say this, I did not like, in this Godzilla movie, the things I don't like, which I like a lot of it. I thought the action was amazing. The fight where was that facility? Was that South Korea?
Where they had Kong?
Was that a fake city?
No, when Kong and
at the
Godzilla
end,
fought?
the final fight.
That was Hong Kong.
Okay.
Kong.
So them going through Hong Kong and just destroying the end was really cool. The Millie Bobby Brown, I don't think I really care for her as an actress.
She wasn't horrible in this, but what was the point of it?
Kiwi Boy wasn't good. I don't know his name. The black guy I really liked. I want to see him more.
Man.
Shit.
Dennison is the
I like
Kiwi Boy
that actor. I think his character goes between somewhat smart to one of the cooks in the Three Stooges, and by that I mean patronistic. Not very well written, but I like the actor.
So I was enjoying this movie even Okay, let's just put it out there. All three of us like this movie.
A lot.
Yes.
A lot.
Because we like it, though, I'm gonna say there's a lot of fucking things wrong with this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
One is Julian Dennison, that little fat Belschnickel fuck.
He
as
has
soon as I
lost weight,
saw
though.
him, I got pissed off. I don't know why. I just see his face and I get pissed off.
What was the point of his character popping up as a
Here we
friend?
go.
I don't know.
Here we go in another adventure. Fuck up.
He's
Well, so
odd. He's an odd character. Like
my
He
wife.
needs to stick to the Deadpool 2 road where he's a foul-mouthed wisecracker because he doesn't have the looks for mainstream acting. I'm sorry, it's the fucking truth. Get into the comedy niche, become that side character until you maybe get your own front-leading roles, ride the wave as far as you can, and have it that way because you're not gonna be... You know what I mean?
they did try to make him comedic in this, but it wasn't very funny.
Deadpool's the only movie that I didn't like him in, but I kind of felt some of his lines were good. Like realistically, I didn't like him in the Santa Claus movie. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, this one compared to the Santa Claus movie, I think I would choose Santa Claus over this.
Well,
for him.
No, I want to go in all three movies and shoot him in the face.
And by the way, this is space age technology that he's trying to hack into.
Yeah.
And on top of it, you think their systems are just wide open to the point where some booze of like 3 ounces of alcohol would destroy the entire computer?
Yeah, well, me personally, I
using
would have punched
Dells.
that kid for fucking taking my
Right?
flask.
Like, I mean, the thing about it is, though, it's like, this is literally trillions of dollars of technology. You think a little bit of liquid's going to destroy the whole fucking mainframe?
So my wife, who doesn't pay attention to movies and barely she watches movies on her, paying attention to the phone. She has the magic ability to not know what the fuck is going on or be looking at the screen, but call a movie out on its bullshit. Because she's like vicariously watching this movie through me, and we get to the end, and she's like, the characters, the 3 characters, the nerd guy and the girl, and I was like, oh yeah, Millie Bobby Brown's character. She's like, why didn't they just strip that all from the movie? They didn't need it.
Go on, no need.
I was like, yeah, there would have been more time for kaiju shit.
Yeah, they could have used the guy though, just because of his conspiracy theory thing, and
he's
it
the only
didn't
one that
have to
was
be that
likable.
long.
And he was the
It
only one
didn't
that
have
was
to be that
likable.
long.
Well,
Yeah, it didn't have to be that long.
I mean, it's just they throw them through the multi, like the reverse gravity thing for no reason to shoot them on the other side of the kaiju or on the other side of Mecha Godzilla. Because they go into that container gets shot into the inverse gravitational pull to the other side where they're building Mecha Godzilla.
Was that what it was? Because I thought it was just like a tunnel system that was built to Hong Kong. Because they found one of the tunnels.
Yeah, but those tunnels use the inverse gravity to propel them fast.
Is that how? Because
yeah, like there is Antarctica's the entrance to the actual Hollow Earth, but they built the tunnel system and are using their ships to use the inverse gravity to travel across basically the other side of the planet in no time.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, to piggyback off that, the writing and the characters in this movie are god awful.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. There's not one redeeming character where you're like, I don't want to see them be crushed by Godzilla or King Kong right now. Even the little girl.
You know what? I like the little girl.
I liked
she didn't have
her.
a single line in the fucking
No,
movie.
the little girl.
Friend.
She was fine, but the whole time I kept thinking, like, this movie should be called "How I Got My Child Taken Away from CPS."
Not only that, well, they explained that her parents were killed, but you know.
Well, here's the thing: she was also a child from Skull Island, right? Because they said when Skull Island, okay, and also what's his name? Dewey Cox, or what's his name? The guy from.
I know from Skull Island. Yeah, no, he's talking about John C. Reilly when he was in Skull Island.
Yeah, he did make reference in that movie saying time is different here. So how long did she really have with Kong before they found her? Because Kong knows fucking sign language.
Yeah, but time is different.
I'm sorry, spoiler alert. Sorry, I apologize.
But the island time is different. But everybody didn't age differently though. Like he aged 30 years.
Yeah, but the people there, he said that he said that they aged differently.
What do you think that girl is like 947 years old?
I don't know because Kong is a lot older now.
Yeah, but okay, so her, whatever her age aside, So
They left the island.
Well, my whole thing was about Kong knowing fucking sign language. That was my whole thing about that. So.
Oh, well, no, my thing is, like, I just kept laughing at every scene this girl is in, because, like, the military is like, yeah, bring your daughter with. Oh, yeah, your daughter can hang out by the giant fucking monkey. Oh, we're going on a suicide mission like Mass Effect? Yeah, bring your daughter with. That's a great idea. Like,
Yeah. Although, also, he's like, here's for you to vomit. And then they don't even give one to the little girl. But she's okay.
Do they ever explain how the fuck Skarsgård knows how to fly a spaceship?
no, they don't. And in 2 scenes, they set up this, like, it's sad because his brother died, and then they offer him to go on the mission. He's like, yeah, fuck my brother, I'll go. Like, that's fine.
Really, my science?
How did my brother die? Oh, he got crushed.
The CG on Godzilla, my wife had a real problem with, and I kind of agree on certain things. And here's the thing: is I didn't watch it in 4K this time. I'm actually going to watch scenes of it again on my 4K to see if it's an HDR thing, to where it was meant for HDR and some of the highlighting just wasn't in there in the 1080p transfer. But there are some scenes with Godzilla specifically where his scale work is blurry.
Looks a little rough.
And then not only that, but like in the ocean scene, some of the missile launchers on the ships were terrible. Yeah. There's some CG shit now. Overall, especially when it comes to the destruction and explosions, I thought the CG was pretty confident. But I did have those issues. And there's some goofy shit in the movie that, like, Skarsgård's character, I mean, why is he really there? What did he do? And I have a theory on what Godzilla is. And I think my theory is that he doesn't have this god power that all these other creatures have. So, but they gave him the power in the axe. So my thought is, these creatures roam the earth. Whatever made them made Kong's race to protect the earth from them. And they do. And my theory is because Kong doesn't have that power by nature, and they do. It's so, worst case scenario, he's the last one left and can't abuse the power to hurt humans. He's a free-thinking animal and is not driven by that instinct. So to me, when that axe comes into play, that tells me that Kong has this entire time been the true protector, and Godzilla this entire time is only sometimes aligning with humanity's interest to kill these things.
Well, that's where this movie forgets its own lore, because in the last movie, for some reason in both these movies, people find like ancient text randomly, like on Google.
Yeah.
And in the last movie, they find in the history books that King Ghidorah is the ancient rival to Godzilla. And in this movie, there's another scene where some Asian lady's like, I found something that says King Kong is the ancient rival to Godzilla. And it's like, wait, in the last movie, it was King Ghidorah. Like, what?
I'm pretty sure that's actually even in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So who's Godzilla's ancient rival? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Apparently, according to this movie, anybody who roams the earth that's big as he is. He's like, oh, you exist? Time to fuck you up then.
And my second point is, if you're following, like, old Godzilla movie Toho lore and Godzilla 2000, and maybe some of the newer Godzilla's asexual. It can reproduce when it wants. King Kong has 2 parents, so how come you can't see his dong in this movie? And I before you guys even start, I looked it up.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker didn't make it.
Gorilla genitals are only slightly smaller than human beings, which means you should see his big old hog.
That's why they don't have it in there, because it would be a big old building crushing hog as he swung through the fucking city. His dick alone would take out hundreds of people.
What was the rating for Watchmen?
R.
Yeah, so they would have had to made this an R rating because of the Watchmen, like how the Watchmen's.
So back to his CG, I think I got Jen to admit that partially what she doesn't like about him is he's fat.
Godzilla?
Yes.
For Godzilla?
He's a chunker.
Because, well, she was like, why the fuck is his head so tiny? And then later in the movie, I'm like, I think you don't like him because the character model's a fat Godzilla. And she's like, I did say his head looked really tiny on his body. But she bitched about things like at the very beginning when he was like, when his eyes were blue, and she's like, why? She's like, it looked like his fucking eyes were blue. And I was like, they are blue. That's his power. Like, I was insulted because I remember having a toy as a kid that had the eyes that were clear, and the back of the tail with his spikes was clear, and he was green everywhere else, and you would press a button and a blue light would go through, including his eyes. So
Nice.
for me, like, I went back to when I was like 8 years old, and I was like, bitch just said what? Like, but once we got over the fact that his eyes were supposed to be blue, then she was just like, I don't know, there's just something about him. She did not like Godzilla in this movie.
Have either of you guys seen Shin Godzilla? It came out in
No.
2016.
No.
Which one is that?
It was the most recent
Yeah.
sequel to the actual Godzilla movie, Shin Godzilla.
Oh no.
No, I have not.
It's really good. It looks like the old Godzilla movie is just updated, but it's really
wow.
really good.
I'll have to check that out then. Is that streaming anywhere?
I don't know.
By the way, speaking of streaming, Tubi is the only place that you can watch it for free for RoboJocks.
What?
I own the
just throwing it-
DVD.
throwing it back.
Wait,
The
what did
RoboJocks.
we just found it on something?
I was looking to Amazon Prime. You have to subscribe. It says, but I've looked for it.
Subscribe
I
to
can't get
what?
It just says subscription, and I actually searched it and it didn't show it up on there. So maybe I'm not signed in. I don't know. We'll see. But it says watch now free on Tubi. Anyways, go ahead. Shin Godzilla.
Oh yeah, it came out in 2016. It's another sequel to the original Godzilla films, and it's a pretty dark movie.
You're not signed
I
in.
like
It's
it.
included with Prime.
But I do about this movie. I
Found
do like that Kong is kind of. I want to say this kind of Kong's movie, like just with the intro and. I mean, it's weird because the CGI gorilla has a better story arc
Yeah.
and makes more sense than the characters in the movie, the human
Yeah.
being characters.
Well, this movie is literally like I'm King Kong enjoying my life, and who's this dick? Like,
Yeah.
realistically, this is a King Kong movie, and Godzilla's the villain until the end, which we're gonna spoil. If you don't like spoilers, fuck off. That's all we do. Anyways, and
There's no point anymore of not spoiling.
exactly what I predicted happened. I said, and now I did say Kong was going to win initially, but then we were both kind of like, I don't know, and I think we both talked about how we thought they were going to team up. I think we both kind of had that theory.
Yeah, to fight
Yeah,
mech.
However, I did say Kong was going to save Godzilla's ass,
You
and
did.
he did. However, he still Kong. I feel took the most goddamn damage in this movie.
Oh yeah, he was beat
had
to
to be-
shit by
yeah.
the end.
He had to be jump started.
And yeah, okay. So that scene, I'm literally. So I finished this today after we recovered my dog from animal welfare. I come home and I'm like, thank God I can finally watch the rest of this movie I've been waiting fucking months for. So I'm
Why'd
finishing
you
it,
look off to the side? I'm sorry.
and I'm what's. And
That's why
I'm
I don't
sitting
watch
here
movies
and
anymore.
I'm like,
With my
Kong.
wife.
I'm like, Kong is. How do you jumpstart fucking Kong? And I said that to Jen. I was like, how do you? They don't make paddles that big. And sure enough, this motherfucker's like, you would need so much electricity to power Las Vegas. It's like, okay.
Howard Las Vegas.
So then they jumpstart him,
it's a
and then
throwback to the beginning.
yeah, and then not only that, but he does the Martin Riggs dislocated shoulder trick.
After-
Literally
yeah.
slams his shoulder into a building to put it back into like. How are you not Team Kong, right? And then Godzilla's literally getting his ass. By the way, so we haven't really talked a whole lot about
Well,
Mecha Godzilla.
if King Kong did the whole eye thing too, that would be fucking awesome.
Let's talk about
Like
Mecha
Martin
Godzilla.
Riggs.
Yeah, he wasn't in a straitjacket though.
Yeah, so
would've been-
Mecha Godzilla, he's actually controlled by King Ghidorah's skull. Which another thing is, this movie didn't bring back Charles Dance, and I was sad about that.
Oh, sorry to cut you off. Bringing back characters.
Which one's Charles Dance again? The old man?
yeah, he's Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, okay,
No,
okay, yeah. the
but
old
does
man.
he
I was
survive?
wondering.
He does survive at the end of.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. Why the fuck do you have a great actor like Lance Reddick in this movie for 5 seconds to deliver one line? Why? Wasted. Also wasted, dude from Early Edition, the father of Millie Bobby Brown, who's in the movie for like 2.5 minutes to basically just deliver worried face.
Yeah, he's in like 2 scenes, 3 scenes.
Yeah,
maybe.
and he doesn't do shit. He's literally on the island like, we need to evacuate these people.
And he's the head of Monarch now?
Apparently. Like, and by the
Isn't he
way,
the head of Monarch?
like, you can't fucking get some security on your daughter who clearly doesn't respect you enough to listen. Like, either beat her or get somebody to watch her. That's all I'm saying.
They don't bring back the mom though.
She's dead.
The mom
she's
died.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Died.
She sacrifices herself, but really just does a
Yeah.
dumb fucking thing at the end of the last Godzilla. Yeah,
So the Mecha Godzilla, aside from the design, not being happy with the design, it does look good. It's very Michael Bay Transformers. There's no way they would do it, but the original Mecha Godzilla came from space. There's no way they would fucking do that. I do wish, this being the last film that we know of, they really would have thrown some other fucking kaijus out there too.
I wish they would have launched it from space. Like, I was really hoping there was going to be a plot line where all of the shit was going off planet to the moon, and then that was the weird thing that they were doing that nobody knew about, and then literally when Godzilla's fighting Kong, they launch him, and then he, like, that to me would have been really neat, but they didn't have.
Well,
I want to see that movie now.
I know, right? That would be so awesome.
They wasted it all in fucking War of the Monsters. They put all the kaijus there. They could
Well,
throw
no,
in.
they didn't.
There was so many more that they just fucked over.
I know,
at the
but
intro.
I'm saying they threw them all in there.
No, but did you notice how the intro literally kills all other characters besides these two?
Yeah,
Like,
it was showing. Deceased.
Exactly. I was like, you literally just murdered the entire universe.
But they didn't show anything.
No, exactly.
Well,
They
the
got
thing
rid of
is-
how many of them?
In King of the Monsters, the only actual kaijus from Toho are like maybe 4 or 5 that they use. The others were all made up, and that's why in this one they could have thrown in like Gigan or like some of the other cool ones, just like briefly, but they didn't. I don't know why they didn't. They had all these fucking pieces to use. I don't know why.
Going back to War of the Monsters, did Godzilla have relations with Mothra?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's his side piece in the Toho films.
Okay.
Mothra saves his ass by sacrificing her wings, I think is what it is.
Yeah. In the War of the Monsters or in the
She powers him up when he's getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
She's like Metroid on top of the brain at the end.
He's about to die, and she like covers him, kind of like how how they jump started Kong.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I do wish you would have seen. I mean, I do like the fact that the action that was all on Kong and Godzilla. I like the ocean fight. I love the end fight scene.
Yeah, that was good ocean.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the only thing that threw me off about that scene was the missile launchers on every ship were just really fucking fake looking. But I really liked
They were
it.
accurate.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so
that's not realistic.
I'm glad you brought that up because there was the one scene where Godzilla's really close and you see the missiles like fakely go like this and then directly at him like it's a fucking video game. I was like, no, that's called
not real.
You don't understand
real.
what explosions do to waves if you're so close, right? You're on a fucking floating. Okay, whatever. But I thought the destruction in that scene was cool. I thought how you had the Kong, like that's the other thing is in the ocean scene you get to see kind of the Kong and Godzilla almost like feeling each other out. It's basically round one of like, I see you know what I mean? Round two is kind of the first battle where Kong fucks him up, or Godzilla fucks him up.
Godzilla fucks him, yeah.
And then Kong's really fucked up. They got to jump start him, but in the meantime, Godzilla's literally walking away like, fuck that guy, because he doesn't kill him. There's an understanding between the two of like, you bow down. He's literally, that's why he needs to be jump started, because he's crushing his chest.
Yeah.
And so like, Kong doesn't really back down either. He recognizes that he can't get up and fight him, but he roars right back at Godzilla's screams. There's that cool scene where they're screaming at each other. And then that kind of, Godzilla's walking away. He's like, I'm going home. And then fucking Mecha Godzilla comes out.
I watched all of the movies leading up to this, and Kong Skull Island came out first, but it's kind of weird if you binge them all. Kong Skull Island, like that movie just jumps straight into it.
Yeah.
The action, like it kind of just
like
goes.
15 minutes, yeah.
And then you get to Godzilla by Gareth Edwards, and that movie, it just like kills the buzz because it's like we're not going to show Godzilla for a fucking hour and 20 minutes. And then you jump back into King of the Monsters in this movie, and they're like, no, we're going to go towards like what people want to see. Like people want that. Like the movie that sticks out the most is the Godzilla movie. Like it just doesn't fit well with Skull Island, King of the Monsters, and this movie.
Well, the Godzilla 2014, which is the Gareth one. The problem in my, and don't get me wrong, I love the guy. He made the Raid movies, but he went too much into the drama of a disaster movie, and not enough into the spectacle and action of a Godzilla movie. So
Yeah.
he
like the lead up into it, but not the action of it.
yeah, he made it too real, and people don't want to feel depressed by these movies. They want to walk away going, "Yeah, fuck him up, Godzilla." Like, and the problem is when you have a movie that's so bleak like that movie is, like it's supposed to make you feel how you would feel if there was a goddamn giant lizard destroying your city. Yeah. That's where that movie fails. They went too real with the emotion on it, in my opinion.
So, and I still think it's a great film. It just doesn't fit in like the puzzle of these four.
In the last 2 weeks, I watched all four of them, and I crammed 2 of them in 2 days, just to fucking get it out of the way, and then fucking finally finished yesterday with King of Monsters. No, this morning. Holy shit!
King of Monsters is good. I do like King of Monsters quite a bit.
I finished Godzilla versus Kong.
As someone, granted, all three of us who have lived through 9/11, I can't help but think of the last 3 movies and how everyone in these cities is going to die of horrible cancer in like 5 years.
Yeah.
If they weren't destroyed in the buildings coming down.
Yeah.
But mostly the buildings in the U.S. because they have asbestos all over the place.
I was going to make a joke about the buildings in Tokyo having MSG, but I'm not going to do that.
Godzilla's like, tasty.
No, man, they really fuck up Tokyo too. I did not think they would go there.
They destroy the whole fucking city. Like literally, they're destroying the city. Just like Kong's trying to run through it, and then the lasers cutting shit up behind him.
Plus, fucking Godzilla's throwing a fucking hole down to the fucking center.
Yeah. And I do like how that scene happens where you know he's doing it, but then when he busts through, it's like, oh fuck! Like even Kong's like, what the fuck? Like. And so Lewis pointed out he liked it because so the way it progresses is Godzilla's walking away, and then basically he's literally like happy with himself that he just fucked Kong up, and he sees Mechagodzilla because Mechagodzilla's got. By the way, I thought they were going to take the pilot of Mechagodzilla and have him be the son of the guy that sacrificed himself at the end of War of Monsters.
I thought that as well.
Or no, was that War of Monsters?
Oh, it was.
It was War of the Monsters.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be the son, and then they literally give him no connection, no background, another wasted character.
He's just a smart tech guy
who's literally there just to die when Mechagodzilla takes over and goes AI independent, kills him right there,
becomes self-aware.
Yeah, so I mean and then fucking Mechagodzilla comes out and starts wrecking Godzilla.
That was so Pacific Rim right there. I don't know. Well, maybe it's both. I don't know.
It was because of Mechagodzilla's movement, which does draw into what Lewis said about the Transformers-esque design. They designed the character to be flexible and fluid so he could take on 2 people fighting.
Yeah, I didn't like the whole hand spinning thing.
It did make the danger for Kong more when the fucking spike thing is like almost driving into his head.
Yeah.
It is kind of a throwback to the Toho films because Ghidorah does get killed in the original Godzilla films, and they turn him into Mecha Ghidorah. So using him for Mecha Godzilla is kind of cool.
Okay.
So I mean, I didn't hate the design of Mechagodzilla. I do agree it was a little.
All right.
It was a little Transformers looking, but I understand they have to have a creature that not only can fight 2 characters at once, so you need flexibility. Also, once again, fat ass Mechagodzilla is not really a modern looking the Ready Player One. I also agree, but once again,
a lot of that was also a lot more digital.
Yeah, they're trying to modernize it, which I understand.
For anyone who doesn't know what we're referring to, Mechagodzilla looks like a tin can Godzilla with a jetpack. So it obviously wouldn't look great, but
yeah, he looks like he's wearing a gown, like a 1900s gown, but it's all metal.
He looks like he got cast in Wizard of Oz.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Wizard of Oz was the movie. For some reason, that was in my head with that too. Yep, exactly.
He wanted to be the lion, but they're like, "No, you're the Tin Man. Just spray paint yourself silver."
Right. They're like, "All right, we'll use him later." He's hanging from a tree in the background. Movie's good. The action's really cool between them. They team up against Mechagodzilla. You know, he gets some good shots in. One of the really cool parts that Lewis and I both really liked was when Godzilla like looks at him because Godzilla he's getting his ass whooped, and King Kong comes out and saves his life and it's really fucked up because Mechagodzilla is like starting to separate Godzilla's mouth, and he's about to laser beam his fucking head off, and which we've already been seen as stronger than Godzilla's because it was able to blast him backward with it and overpower his blast completely. And yeah, so he's about to die, and Kong saves his ass. They both still get some more licks taken out of him. Yeah, he saves him, and then there's a scene where Kong's kind of like he grabs the axe, but it doesn't have the power up, and Godzilla finally is getting up, and he looks at him, and he does his blast to the axe, powers it up, which once again feeds into my theory that Kong is the protector of the Earth from these creatures. He does not have the powers of these things himself, but can harness them to destroy them. They don't lay it out, but that is my theory of where they may have wanted to go with this. Or where maybe they already had and I just haven't dug deep, whatever. But it's a really cool scene where he powers up to the axe, then at that point Mechagodzilla becomes butter.
Oh yeah, that's a fucking cool scene, and I do like. I mean, in a movie like this, they honestly could have just not done the Mechagodzilla King Kong fight as long as they did. But I wish that fight was longer. But I do like that this movie like makes that the money shot. They go super detailed. There's a couple scenes where
like 25 minutes, half hour long.
There's a couple scenes where either Godzilla or King Kong is falling, and they do like almost the like chest GoPro, where it like watches them.
Yeah, when I actually really like that when Godzilla, when King Kong grabs Godzilla's head and like knees him, and it goes into the first person POV. I thought that was fucking neat, dude.
I don't know what it is about when they're doing like fucking giant figures that are fighting. They go super slow motion. I don't understand why that happens.
Well, it's to show the detail in these giant spectacles of CG that they've built. It's designed to, like, that's their money shots. That's their, like, here's where the budget went, you know what I mean?
But it's like with Marvel, with Ant-Man, when he moves, he's fucking super slow. You know, like, it's like shit
when he's giant? Well, I mean...
Well, so I take it as, like, if you're looking at something upscaled, like, Godzilla is probably not going to move. Like, I would imagine their strikes, if you were there in person, they're not going to be, like, super quick. Like, there's going to be a lot of momentum to them.
You got to remember, with more size, that's more weight for them to move. Like, to them, it's proportional, but nonetheless, it's still a lot of movement that's happening. Think of it like you got to always equate this sort of shit to, like, how fast you think a building could move if it could walk. Like... It's basically what they are. A skyscraper, I should say.
In other words, Rob would hate this movie if he was there in person watching it.
Rob hates everything.
Hit him faster!
No slow motion, please.
Yeah, he's done. Him and I talked about it, and we do agree that, like, on both scenes, that, like, because I went at him, I was like, what are you talking about? Because my take on it was, as you guys know, like, there was two particular parts of it that I found egregious, other than that, not so much, which was the Aquaman music video and the Lois Lane depressing music video. Those two can be cut the fuck out. And I got him to admit that those were the two scenes that he's like, that's what I'm talking about. I was like, and all the rest, the super speed, that's fine. He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, well, then we agree. But it doesn't ruin the fucking movie. And he's like, it's all. What did he say? He's like, it's mostly slow mo. And I was like, well, 10% of the movie, but okay.
Yeah. What'd you think about when they had to like airlift fucking Kong, and then they fucking just dropped him in the snow? Like...
I was feeling bad for Kong ever since they put him on the boat and it was raining.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, you can't put a tarp over the guy.
He's going like this, and like.
I felt so bad. I was like, buddy, I wish if I was on that ship, I'd go stand out there with an umbrella for him.
Was it me, or did they only have one arm chained, the other arm wasn't?
Both arms were.
Both arms were. They just
I'm
had
sure,
hit slack in the chain.
I'm sure because at one point it looked like he put this arm up and there was no chain. It was only on one arm. It looked like, and that's just for me.
No, because
Okay, I'll take a look at it
no,
again.
he was chained to it because you got to remember his hands were chained to the deck.
And they kept pulling it back.
When it sank, he was still attached to it. That's why
Okay.
Skarsgård had to go release the lock for him.
Okay.
I do wish that this movie was. I hate to like. Now that I saw the Snyder cut, it's gonna ruin everything for me because this movie moved so goddamn fast. It had to.
I thought it was gonna be 2.5 hours long, and it was an hour and 52 minutes with credits.
Yeah, like release the Snyder Godzilla cut because there. Ah, man. And if you hadn't seen any of the other films and you watched this movie, I feel like it does a good job of kind of keeping you up to pace with what's going on. But I can see why people would complain that this movie just has the structure is just non-existent because it's just like jump.
Well, the problem is they added that useless storyline with Millie Bobby Brown, so like it would go from what really was important to their bullshit to Skarsgård's meeting with the evil guy to, you know what I mean? Like that was the other. Like I do agree with if that's a criticism, if it not being fluid is a criticism, I absolutely agree. But I am also of the opinion it's a disaster creature action flick. I'm okay with dumb characters as long as they destroy Hong Kong for a half hour fighting each other. I can make those exemptions and still love this movie.
Yeah, and that's my complaint about people's reviews of this movie because as soon as it came out, the first thing I did was started looking up other people's reviews because in my head I'm like, this is a movie. It's the same thing with Pacific Rim.
What? Why do you look up other people's reviews? I'm just curious.
So he could steal their shit, bro.
No, because
no.
No, because it's a kaiju movie, so like
Okay.
it to me it's the same as when the Snyder Cut came out. I started looking up other people's reviews because if you're looking for an intense, very serious story from a IP about monsters fighting each other, you're not going to get it. And I wanted to see how people reacted to this, and a lot of the reviews are positives that basically say like this movie the story is crap, but like you got to see what you showed up for. You like they did everything right with the kaijus fighting each other. That you can ignore that the movie is kind of hot garbage because you just want to see the fucking monsters fighting.
Well, they pieced the story around monsters fighting, which I would much rather have them piece the story around the monsters fighting than have to piece the monsters fighting around a shitty story.
And that's why I say that's why the what is it 2005 Kong?
King Kong. King Kong.
That's why that's just it's an amazing movie by itself, and it's an even cooler kaiju movie because I mean it's almost impossible to make a good movie around giant monsters because it's like.
Oh, go ahead. I was waiting. I didn't want to cut you off.
I was gonna say it's easy to do like we got to have King Kong and Godzilla fight, but okay now we need to make a movie out of the rest of it. Like it's hard to do that.
Yeah, I mean fuck, I forgot my point. They didn't Freddy vs. Jason it, which was really a hollow movie with like 5 to 6 minutes of good Freddy vs. Jason fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was terrible. I mean, like the only way to watch that movie is literally skip to the last 10 minutes to the scene where he's shooting propane tanks at him.
You complained about people cheering during Avengers. Dude, I went to see Freddy vs. Jason in a really ghetto theater, and I could not hear the fucking movie because people were just chanting Jason and Freddy the whole time.
Oh God. I had to fucking walk out and ask for my money back.
What city was this by chance?
Oh, this was a theater by my mom's place.
Bricktown.
Okay.
Brickyard, Bricktown. Yep.
Oh yeah, that Brickyard brings out the best of the best.
Yeah.
Sorry if you live over there.
Oh
hey,
yeah.
if you live over there, try to move. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, unless you're one of the people that like has a security gate or something.
And when I was watching this, I was thinking like this would be a cool movie to see in theaters. But like going back to like me not liking theaters,
I hate
I have a new sound system. I have a big TV. I convinced my wife to let me put LED strips behind the TV.
Oh,
Do they react to the movie?
Yeah, so I wanted to do this like months ago, and I had like my wife gave me like a giant like poo poo on my idea moment because we're walking through Walmart. I point at the lights, and I'm just like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to like have those behind the TV like hue lights like lighting up? And she looks at me. She doesn't say anything. She's just like, nah.
So
And I was just like,
did you get the ones that like react with the movie, so it like changes the color and shit?
yeah, they could sync up to sound.
Is it worth it?
It's really gimmicky,
Well,
but it was really cool to watch.
I've looked at it several times. Is it worth it?
Hue lights are better because it actually syncs up with the sound of the movie, where other movies or other lights just sync up to the sound of movie reaction.
Yeah, that's mine. They just grab on a movie.
But
reaction.
it's a cool effect though?
Oh fuck yeah! Especially like if you're watching a horror movie and you use the red light function.
Because I was thinking about getting it.
I just remember that day in Walmart because I'm just like, that would be cool, and she's just like, nah. And I was like, I didn't even get to say the rest of my thought. Like,
Yeah,
I'm going to cover the names just in case, but these lighting that I have, I have these. This would be one of those that react just to sound. And I'm gonna eventually put this around at the ceiling so it'll actually light up.
I've actually looked at those lights, but Lewis, you have the LED strip, right?
yeah, it really does kind of add to the atmosphere. It makes it look like a cool experience, especially if you have a good sound system.
I've got a nice sound bar.
Yeah. So this is the same shit, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah. See, I was thinking, I don't know. I saw some on Amazon. See,
that's where this came from.
The crazy thing is, like, in the living room, I have a really nice sound bar and a sub. It's like a 5.1 total, and it works really well because I'm in the basement, so shit just reflects. But in my bedroom, I literally have these tower fucking clip speakers that are way overpowered for my bedroom to the point where I used to have a sub connected here, and then I disconnected it, and then I was, like, literally watching something the other day, and I was like, holy fuck, I need to turn down my subwoofer. And then went to go turn it down, like, in the menu, and I was like, what the fuck do you mean I don't have one connected? Sure enough, I don't have it connected. It's just these fucking floor speakers. I had to put the goddamn receiver into midnight mode to reduce the bass frequency because these things are so awesome. Like, I only in the bedroom, I only have a 3.1 setup, so it's just stereo in the center channel. But I've got a really nice center channel speaker, and I've got these goddamn beasts. So watching a movie in my bedroom, which is also nice because the way we have it set up is it reflects on the walls as well. So, like, I can sit in my chair over here and crank this fucker, and it's amazing. It's still like, yeah, it's still real good. Now my living room setup is full 5.1, so it's nicer, but these hit directly back of the wall, so like it still emulates it somewhat. Like those Dolby Atmos tracks are gonna split it up a little bit. But yeah, so I don't know. Kong sounded good. I don't know, man. This just makes me look forward to Mortal Kombat all that much more.
Yes.
Like I can't fucking wait for that movie. From the moment I found out they who they were casting, I was like, dude. I even like Jax.
Is it also by Legendary? Let me check.
I thought Mortal Kombat was Warner Brothers. Lionsgate, maybe?
Let's see. Which I think Warner owns Legendary. Yeah, no, Warner Bros. Okay.
Yeah. That's a direct Warner Brothers property, though. The games and everything have always been.
I have such fucking high hopes for that goddamn movie.
I know. I hope it turns out like. Every time I read an article where it's like director says they pushed the rated R as far as they could without breaking it, and then it's like he also says that he hopes it's the most, the best fighting movie that anybody's ever seen, and it's like, brother, there's some good ones out there. Like we the Raid, The Night Comes for Us. Like you really better be on point saying that shit. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, and unfortunately that was pushed back, but
We're gonna
Alex has to go pee pee. We're gonna take a pee pee break, and we're back from Alex's pee pee break.
That was a long one. A camel.
Let's let's see. So where did we left off? I guess a question I have for you guys. It's kind of a pipe dream since Legendary lost the license.
For now.
I mean, what kind of sequel would you want to see after this one? In my head, I was thinking like Godzilla and King Kong, like tag team against two kaiju's.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I think at this point
cool.
you kind of also have to go with like the alien invader angle, because you're going to need the two protectors who are enemies once again work together. So I mean, Kong ends up in his own. He's in Hollow Earth, so you're going to have something that invades from probably a different planet.
And brings him out from Inner Earth or Hollow Earth or
Well,
whatever.
you know, I mean, or you set it up as simple as one of them gets really gravely injured by whatever the invading force is, and then it sends a signal to the other one to kind of,
See, that's why I don't know if you guys know who Gigan is. If you don't, you should Google it and look up an image. It's Gigan. He's a kaiju alien cyborg. It would be so fucking cool if they would have brought him in.
Oh yeah, I know him.
G-A-N.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with Matt. I think another movie you have to introduce the alien angle because they even allude to it in King of the Monsters that King Ghidorah came from space.
Yeah, he was a outsider. He was a parasite, they called him, or some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean that's where I would go, and I don't know necessarily like the ballsy thing would be to basically either kill off one of either Kong or Godzilla at the beginning, or hurt him to the point where he's out of commission till halfway through the film. Because the other you can't set up a movie where it's like, don't worry, there's two of them. Like you remove all danger. So if you set up the premise being that Kong, the invaders first hit Godzilla, because he seems to be the one with the actual kaiju powers the most. Kong faces off, or no, I'm sorry, not Kong. Godzilla faces off with him first and gets royally fucked up to the point where Kong has to be released from or come out of Hollow Earth, where is his home now, because he gets the signal sent that, oh shit, I'm like the last one here. Of course, you come up with some sort of device to revive Godzilla or whatever the case, you radiation, you throw a nuke on him, whatever your fucking storyline is going to be. But you can't have it where it's two going the whole time. There's got to be uneven odds. You got to have one of them out of commission and the other one gets wrecked and retreats while the cities burn.
Because the way it's set up now is Kong is underworld and Godzilla is up above.
He's in the oceans, yeah.
And in reality, Godzilla is a protector of the man, but he's just not understanding what the man does. So he still fucking has casualties, which is fucked up.
I think the smart way to do it
has an understanding of casualties.
I think the smart way to do it is your opening scene is the alien invasion, right? They're wrecking the city. It's a full-on disaster movie. And that you only really focus on one alien, right?
Yeah.
You have him doing it. You have Godzilla come out of nowhere and start fucking him up. Right as it looks like Godzilla's going to destroy him, you have whatever the next alien being drop down, and they both tag team Godzilla and basically murder him. Like the whole hinge on the first half of the movie is, oh shit, is Godzilla going to make a reappearance here?
Where does this take place? Is this California or Florida?
And destroy the whole fucking world.
Oh, fucking destroy California.
Okay, California.
Please.
It's going to take place in California where Godzilla fucking cuts off California and
they pay them.
They can do California and then swim to fucking they got
Portland.
Portland can go. Florida, I mean, I don't know, maybe half of it. The half
Key West is okay, but you have to dissect around it.
Like just
leave everything but Disneyland.
Yeah, Universal Studios stays. But yeah, that's the thing is like you kind of have to set it up where the stakes are even higher as far as danger. Like Mechagodzilla, if they wouldn't have teamed up, would have wrecked they would have destroyed the fucking world because there's no stopping it.
That's what Mechagodzilla wanted to do, yeah.
So it's like you have to have something that's even worse than that, and you have to in that movie sacrifice a portion of this planet. Like it has to be a little bit like Superman, where they're terraforming or whatever they're doing, and like I think that's how you set it up. Where because Godzilla technically won the one-on-one. He needs to be the one that gets taken out in the beginning. There has to be an underdog situation.
Huh.
Because you got to have big bad Godzilla there, ready to go, fucking them up, and then tag team destroyed. And then the next shot after they show you basically show it's where Godzilla's on the ground dead, and in the background these things are rampaging through the city. Cut to Kong waking up in his home, and like then it goes from there.
Or the humans taking that little fucking trailer thing down there.
Yeah,
again.
Like you cut it to, my vision would be like you would cut it to like there's he's back in his home in Hollow Earth that looks like Skull Island. It's the familiar platform from this movie you're seeing, and then he does his cute little wake up and scratch his butt thing, and goes through that whole process again.
So at the beginning of this, we're gonna jump way back. Was there like a weird fucking scene, or was that just me? Like he's like waking up, he's like, and you said the whole scratching butt thing. That was later on, though, wasn't it? Like that was like halfway through.
Well, no. See, the whole
was that in this part in the beginning?
I think it was in the same part, but you got to remember that the reason he does that and the reason that scene is set up is because he's supposed to be acting very casual. Because you got to remember, the next thing he does with that tree is launch it into the fucking dome. So it's just him. It's him acting like he's doing his normal routine, and he's just and then he whips a fucking tree into it, and that's the whole him being coy.
Okay. We didn't talk about that earlier, but I fucking like that shit about Kong.
That surprised me too when he did that. I mean, it hit. I was like, "Oh fuck, it's a dome," and like the whole time, like I felt bad for Jen because I was just calling shit out. Like literally, when the Mecha Godzilla and he's in the pilot seat and the eyes go red. I was like, it's becoming self-aware, and she's like, what? And I was like, it's becoming self-aware. Like I was all in it. I really did like the movie, and like she was trying to keep up with my own fucking like. Do you want me to shut up? Because I would understand that. I literally told her that. I was like, I do get it, because I was at one point like just 2 minutes before everything was going on, I was calling it the fuck out.
That would have been me fucking doing this. Yes, please.
Well, you know what? It was one of the few times she wasn't on her fucking phone when I'm watching a movie with her. So it was nice to interact with somebody. Like I want to do the riff tracks type thing because that is one of the most fun fucking things to me to watch a movie and literally just have fun and joke about it. Like that just sounds like fun to me.
I feel bad because I remembered that my wife got out of work today at 1:00. Had I fucking waited, we could have watched this together. And I could have had like my own, like my wife, understanding of it or whatever.
So watch it again.
But no, I'm not going to watch it tomorrow.
So he went from caring about his wife to completely selfish.
No, but when she walked in,
I'm not going to watch
it. Fuck that.
I had already finished when she walked in the door. So I was like, I forgot that you were coming home. You're muted.
Where were we?
Oh fuck!
We were talking about how we move on to the next sequels that they'll never fucking do unless they maybe finally in the 25th hour buy the licensing back. By the way, why wouldn't you renew the licensing?
Yeah.
Like
why
this movie during
and get it for another fucking 5-10 years.
During pandemic 2021, it's made 150 million or something like that, wasn't it?
They could have made a killing on it and said, "Hey, by the way, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Let's make this deal now."
Yeah, we'll do the licensing again for a 10-year discounted rate because frankly, I'm hoping we can make movies. Do you want another studio that doesn't have the resources that we have?
Exactly. We've been successful. You said they were very successful, right? All 4 movies?
Yeah, so just to throw some numbers at you, so budget for all 4 combined, $745 million, so that's the cost. Box office for all 4 combined, $1,621,720,000. Yeah, these movies have made their money.
Why didn't they fucking make a fucking pre fucking thought? Like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're thinking. Let's think about the future. What we could possibly do.
I don't know why you wouldn't renew a successful license, unless they made the price of the license so egregious because they didn't want them handling it anymore. But I mean, I don't know. That's a possibility, but why would they do that if they're making fucking cash hand over fist too?
Are they going to make any remakes? Is there any kind of a talk about them possibly doing anything?
I'm sure Toho is shot like wanting more movies to be made. I'm pretty sure they're gonna come back to Warner and be like, all right, we want this much now. But I can't see the MonsterVerse stopping here. There has to be
They're
something.
good movies. I mean, 2014 Godzilla is a little more bleak, but like War of the Monsters, Kong Skull Island, like they're good movies that, in my opinion, this one included, they're building a good universe. I just want more of the universe. Like, if I can give one big complaint to the universe as a whole, is I haven't seen enough of the fucking thing.
That's my biggest complaint with these movies. That when you think there's only been 4, it's like, come on.
Yeah. So 2014 was Cranston and fucking Kick-Ass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next one was this Millie.
Millie Bobby Brown, the guy from Last Action Hero, and the woman from The Conjuring.
Okay, and
and the dude from Super 8.
And then it was Skull Island.
Well, no, Godzilla came out first, then Skull Island, then King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
Then the
okay, Skull. Okay, King of the Monsters was after. Okay.
I mean, they really didn't start building the universe till Skull Island came out, though.
Yeah, and that's when they started doing those little teasers at the end.
And
Stuff, right?
you don't hear much about any sort of other than like what Godzilla would focus on in 2014. The monster universe really doesn't start until Skull Island.
I do think though that I kind of wonder what it would like if they went with the bleak tone of Godzilla into all the other films.
It'd have been okay if you gave that monster action that it deserved. The problem is when you've got Godzilla coming in 40 minutes from the end of the movie. That you don't do origin stories like that for fucking disaster movies. That's how you make not only that, they did. Now here's the thing: the other problem with that movie is it was incredibly dark, and they to the point where details were just blown out. They did remaster it for 4K, which they completely redid the lighting. So there's appropriate lighting now. So like those scenes where you're watching it and you're like, I think that was Godzilla's back. Now you'll know it was Godzilla.
So I was just looking up to because this is on HBO Max. They have pretty much the entire Toho collection.
Yeah.
So what happens? What happens if HBO Films picks the licensing up?
I mean,
what happens rather than a multiverse movie? You do a multiverse series or a MonsterVerse series.
If they could do it right, that'd be fucking nice. But
I mean, you talk. Well, what is the Game of Thrones budget per episode? 30 million, 20 million?
Oh, it's up there.
So
and there
10 million an episode, 12 episodes. It's 120 million.
I honestly think that HBO and Warner, like a lot of people are still pissed off about Game of Thrones season 8. But the grip that network had on like TV's balls at the time that show was out, I think they're crazy. I mean, they have like fucking 45 Game of Thrones spin-offs in the works.
Yeah, but they lost half their audience when that show ended.
They did, and they're clearly desperate to get something. And I think that's
just signed on to another fucking.
Yeah, don't even get me fucking started on.
Give me a second season of Barry. I love the show Barry. Give me season 2. If you haven't watched Barry, it's one of the best shows made that nobody's watched.
I honestly think since HBO was ambitious enough to do the Snyder Cut, because they're looking for something, they're looking for the next Game of Thrones. I think it'd be cool to see a legit dark HBO series featuring Godzilla.
Yeah,
that would be fucking awesome if they fucking did more darker shit, because that's what it should be.
Well, you could also set it up like each episode's against another kaiju. So you set it up as a series of Godzilla. There's an overarching storyline, basically
45 minutes to an hour long.
You have to.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you're gonna do a lot of story building in the first couple episodes, but you designed the first season to be, by the end of the show, the last 6 episodes, he's fighting a different kaiju every episode, plus the over, like Dexter did. You remember Dexter season 1? Every episode, Dexter had a new kill. That ended with season 1.
Yep. But here's what happens with the new seasons now when they do shit like that is oh god, what the fuck was I just thinking, man?
Was it about teddy bears?
No, I just fucking brain farted. No, they're building shit up, but they don't fucking get their shit out there. God damn it!
It's a lot of. Well, I mean, I think one of the most egregious uses of that is the show The Punisher. Season 1 was decent, a lot of build up. Season 2 was intermediate build. The best scene in The Punisher, the show, was the prison scene. That was a brutal, amazing scene. I don't know if you ever guys have watched it. But there's when the one episode where you actually see him as the Punisher. Because here's my problem with the Punisher show is that he's not the Punisher. Okay, he's Frank Castle, but he spends more time awkwardly screaming than he does doing shit like murdering fools. You know what I mean? There is one scene in that show, however, in it he gets set up in prison, and every one of these dudes' cells open, and it's a somewhat like Old Boy. It's not a side-scrolling shot, but it's a corridor where all their cells open and they start going at him, and it literally I'm gonna watch this after we end up filming. It literally breaks down to he's taking out 5-6 guys to a bloody mess to where he ends up on the ground on his back and he's stabbing the guy above him in the throat with a shank they came at him with and drops him and has to crawl out of a pile of bodies he's just freshly slain to get beat by the guards. That's a Punisher scene. What's not a Punisher scene is making Micro come into season 2 and have nothing to do with his arsenal, just be a witty, funny character that doesn't do anything. They made him way too vulnerable. I understand exploring the emotion of Frank Castle, but you gave me 8 episodes worth of boring bullshit and 4 episodes worth total of decent action. That's the problem. Enough with origins in general. I want a character I don't know shit about that's doing shit in a movie that I'll learn as the movie progresses. Give me a movie where this fucking creature's destroying the world and I don't know why until they fucking tell me. Not, well, he grew up in the Alaskan wilderness and then he rose from this ranks to this ranks in the troll tribes. No, fuck that. Let him destroy shit and let me find out why after. Enough with the origin.
That's why, man, this new Batman film, if I see a goddamn crime alley scene, I'm going to be fucking pissed off.
Or the slow motion pearls, because every Batman movie's done the pearls. Except for Dark Knight. Right? Even Batman Begins. Yeah.
They're from them.
And some movies even explore the pearls more. Cough, Val Kilmer, cough.
Yeah.
I agree with the Batman thing. And that's the other thing is Batman needs to be gritty. And this is why it's such a travesty what they did at the Snyder Cut, because Batman needs to be that. If we're gonna go this way, he needs to be the guy that doesn't murder people, but fucking paralyzes them every time. He needs to be violent, and Pattinson, I don't know what direction they're gonna take with it. I think he's a good actor. I'm not worried about him, the actor. I have concern with whatever direction they're going to take Bruce Wayne. I mean, Christian Bale was an okay Bruce Wayne.
Well, we had the discussion earlier. Is it going to be Bruce Wayne or is it going to be fucking...
as listed right now, it's Bruce Wayne.
So the only way they can make this work, it's Earth 2, so either he's not Bruce Wayne and the big reveal is he's Thomas Wayne, or he is Bruce Wayne and he gets killed at the end of the movie and his father takes over the mantle as Batman.
And who would be the father?
I don't know. Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Kick-ass?
If you look at the way it's set up and the time, the steampunk style of Gotham, you got to wonder if the end catch is going to be the entire time he is Thomas Wayne. You know what I mean? Because it's clearly not set in whatever time frame they're in does not appear to be modern day.
Yeah.
So, especially when you're talking about the steampunk design with Gotham, so you do have the possibility of the whole time being, this is Thomas Wayne, And I don't know if this goes into the actual lore of any comics where you end up having Bruce Wayne inherit the mantle as opposed to just becoming the Batman.
If they did full Earth 2, Thomas Wayne would be Batman, and he'd use pistols.
I'm okay with that.
And he straight up just kills people.
That's good.
I mean, I'm awesome. I mean, I remember when I first watched Batman vs. Superman. And they have the one really cool Batman scene where he comes in and fucks up the whole warehouse. And then you watch the Ultimate Cut, and you see like blood splattering out of these guys and shit. And it's like, this is the Batman I want. Like, maybe I'm in the minority, but like I'm tired of squeaky. Like I'm tired of the Marvel sheen on superheroes.
That's where you guys were talking about the whole. I don't like fucking CW, and I get why, because they're. But when they did the whole multiverse thing collapsing, and the Flash was going into different fucking multiverses, Batman, they actually showed a version of him where he was a fucking villain and he was doing shit. He talked about how he killed people, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking cool. And then they showed the Flash being, in the from the movie of
Justice
Snyder. So it was kind of cool how they just kept fucking showing more and more. So they're trying to make their way out of that. Of the whole drama shit.
But this is where I disagree with you, and it's only 2 words: Batgirl.
Well, they have another Batgirl that's playing her.
That show's done. I won't make it another season.
You don't think they're going to go a 3rd or 4th season?
Nope. Nobody gives a shit. The original actress didn't give enough shit to come back for season 2. It's a mistake of a show.
She thought it was too hard. She thought it was too hard of a job.
Of course, Yeah, because Ruby Rose is really that high in fucking demand. Yeah, no, it was a mistake of a show.
Yeah.
Well, if they let that one go, it's fine too, because they can still continue with the rest of the universe.
Like I know that a lot of people love the Arrow. I know that a lot of people love the CW Flash show. I
get tired of the repeating lines. I get it. Well, I understand. I hate those fucking lines. I get it.
From an outsider, it seems like the OC meets DC Universe, and I don't have any interest in that.
Yeah, but the story that does actually come out later, it is kind of cool.
I just wish then they would bring like I said, I don't know why we have to make superheroes kid friendly, and that's still why to this day.
It is on network television, but now that they have HBO Max having DC,
have you seen some of the shit that's on network television? Though, go watch any of the shows that end in PD. Like, that's network television. And they got bones popping out of legs, and like.
But that's also Channel 5. That's also we know Channel 5 is.
It's all network, so I don't know, man. Like I don't think there's only so long you can hold on to an audience that's aging with kiddie material. You're gonna have loyalists who are like, well, I like this show, I like the product, I like the storylines, like you, who is like, I don't know. At some point, they're gonna lose you. They're gonna go too far, and it's gonna be like, why the fuck am I watching this? Is a kid's show or it's a fucking melodrama?
Let's just get out of this. There's a lot of
times. Well, a lot of. I mean, even Sons of Anarchy had those problems where it's like half the time you're like, this is a badass biker show, and then the other half the time you're like, why am I watching Family Squabble Hour? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of trashy reality TV. My wife and I are currently going through American Chopper, but thank you, Discovery Plus and Alex. That and Unwrapped. I'm Mark Summers, and we're gonna go inside Carnival Candies.
Every now and then I try to see what you're watching. I haven't seen anything yet. You haven't added anything, have you?
No, the goddamn first. The first episode of fucking Unwrapped was I found the Jelly Bellies episode, where he's like, go inside how they make this candy confection. I love that fucking show.
By the way, Anthony, if you want Discovery Plus, let me know. I'll send you the info.
But yeah, okay. I mean, so to wrap up, Godzilla. Matthew Broderick, I think, did a good job. Hank Azaria. Oh wait, fuck! I watched the wrong one. No, I actually do like that movie though. It's good. It's a great monster action flick. It's what you want. Which for about 40 minutes or so minutes of film, it's these two fighting. The rest of it is useless story and wasted characters, but forget that. Watch it on a big screen. Watch it loud. it's what you kind of need right now, because frankly, the market for these movies is devoid. The last disaster movie that was any decent that I saw, well, Geostorm was okay. Was no was the Wave and the Quake, which are two Norwegian movies. The Wave is literally about a tsunami hitting this Norwegian town, and then the Quake is at 4 years or 3 years later, and a quake hitting the same city, but this time destroying the so. Those are the last, and you have them every now and then. Like, you have San Andreas come out, but unfortunately it's attached to The Rock. So you have half of the people going, oh, fuck The Rock.
It's one-legged Rock.
I like The Rock.
But he's one-legged.
Why is he one-legged?
Didn't he have a one leg?
Did he in that movie?
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
He was falling backwards in San Andreas, and he fucking reaches up and his leg's about to fall off.
Oh, yeah. Was that San Andreas? No, was that San Andreas or the other one? He made another movie at the same time.
Yeah.
About, he was trying to rescue his family in that one, too. No, that was the Tower movie. Skyscraper.
Oh, okay. Skyscraper. Sorry.
Yeah, I do remember he had a fake leg.
Don't mean to confuse them. They all seem to be.
I haven't seen Skyscraper. I don't even remember that movie. I like Central Intelligence. Whatever.
I hate the fucking Rock, but I fucking watch every movie he's in.
See, the funny thing is, you hate the Rock.
The Rock as an actor, but I watch his movies.
And here I am, yeah, bro, you should totally watch Hobbs vs. Shaw. It was pretty fun, and you're like, I hate the Rock and.
Well, no. I hate the Fast and Furious series. I like the first couple.
Have you seen Hobbs and Shaw at all? Even I know you don't like Statham, but.
Statham's kind of okay, but
it's actually so I really liked Hobbs and Shaw, but you got it, for one thing, disconnected from the Fast and the Furious franchise because it's got nothing to do with those movies. Okay. Idris Elba's a pretty decent villain, and what I really liked is they injected a lot of you remember the old school buddy cop humor.
Okay.
A lot of
that was Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, okay. A lot of that. I would recommend Hobbs and Shaw even if you don't like those two, because it's much more of an 80s action buddy movie than it is a Fast and the Furious movie.
I'm willing to give this shit a try, but it's just...
It's on HBO Max.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I actually watched it again the other night because I was bored and I hadn't seen it since it came out. It's, you know what it is? It's not going to win any Oscars, but it's a dumb, fun movie with a big budget that allows big explosions.
We talked about a movie a couple weeks ago. I don't know. Can't remember which one it was, but I like dumb, fun movies. Movies that make no sense, just to fucking watch and get it over with.
Like I said, A Bad Trip is one of those ones where it's an hour and 25 minutes of just dumb fun humor that, and that's why I like the Jackass movies, because you literally put them on and you don't have to think at all.
Those are a little harder for me because
we skip the gross shit.
I don't mind the gross shit, but Boss Level was the other one that we talked about.
I don't need to watch people sucking farts out of each other's assholes. So when it comes to that, I literally am just 10 seconds forward, 10 seconds.
Somebody shoving a fucking car up their ass. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 10 seconds forward, 10 seconds forward. I don't need to see him throw up into his mouth, and it's nah, I'm good. But I love those movies. Jackass movies.
Welcome to Jackass. Here's gator swimming. And he jumps to a fucking pool of gators. Yeah, dumbass.
I've actually been listening to the Steve-O podcast, and he had Danger Aaron on. And Danger Aaron said that, because apparently he in Portland, Oregon he was a professional snowboarder before Jackass.
Stormboarder.
No. Okay, and he was doing videos fucking with people in Oregon before Jackass even existed. So it's when they brought him on, he said he broke his neck twice in the last movie.
Holy
and
shit.
that him and Steve-O have both said that filming this movie, they don't know how they're even going to put some of the shit in. Everybody, because they're older, they feel like they have to prove something, and they are just fucking going hard. So, I guess Danger Aaron did tell him, because he's got a kid on the way. He was basically I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll think of something, but I can't be doing the shit because I can't break my neck again. Otherwise, I won't be able to fucking walk. He's broken it several times. So it's from what I'm hearing about the new one, is it's going to have some crazy fucking shit in it. I look forward to it. I don't care how old they are. Steve-O's still great. I listen to his podcast a lot. I really like sober adult Steve-O.
Yeah, Steve-O's Wild Ride. It's a good podcast.
Yeah, I love that fucking podcast, man. I listen to it. I was editing shit today, and I'm literally doing Photoshop, and I'm trying to concentrate. I'm concentrating too hard. So I threw on his podcast so I can just half my brain can focus on that, and the other half can be smooth with my lines because I'm learning how to use my fucking tablet to do Photoshop.
That explains the Simpsons gift and it popped out there.
That's in the Snyder Cut. Yeah, I just didn't really want to have another mommy or daddy hit mommy at the dinner table moment with us, so it was better to go that route. Like poor Lewis just sitting like literally, if I can use copywritten music, I would have like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." As it started to zoom in on Lewis.
How Lewis or Anthony has experienced this over and over. I actually experienced my first mommy hit daddy moment.
Oh, Rob?
No. With Crash.
Oh.
The text message. So I had my
first. No, hold on. So
I was just saying, should we?
Let's give it. We'll tell this story to Lewis off air because it's
Okay, but I'm just saying I had my first experience. I've never had that experience myself. So
all right. Well, let's rate this then. So. You guys had said you mentioned the Hobbs and Shaw movie, dumb, turn your brain off movie. This is Godzilla vs. Kong. Honestly, this is a movie. Just crank the sound system, lights off, just fucking put your phone away, turn your brain off. The movie's so fun that you almost forget that in the Tokyo scene they've murdered millions of people. That's how fun it is.
Hundreds, tens of millions.
They've evacuated, but they've murdered.
So
you mean to tell me they evacuated that whole city? There was literally people. There was literally people running to the subway when Mechagodzilla was walking, destroying things. They're all dead.
Showing up to see what happened afterwards.
We don't have to worry about Chinese people overpopulating the earth. Godzilla and Kong took out half of them.
They came back to see what happened.
But I will say, before I give it a rating, there's a funny thing in the last three movies. There's always a scene towards the end where the fight is over and everyone's like outside, like, "Oh, we survived," but then they forget that there's a giant fucking kaiju that's still waking up. And you would think by the third movie they'd be like, "Oh, let's wait to celebrate until Godzilla goes back into the water."
Yeah.
But yeah, so rating. This is not it's not an amazing movie story wise, but this movie's all spectacle. I do wish they stripped some scenes and characters so we can get more Godzilla vs. Kong, because this movie proves that you can have character development in two creatures that don't talk.
Yeah. I don't think it needed the Aquaman's music video. Oh, fuck, wrong movie, guys.
Yeah, honestly, if they would have stripped out the Bell Schnickel, Millie Bobby Brown...
He wasn't horrible, honestly, but he wasn't needed.
He hasn't found his niche. As an actor, he needs to find his niche.
Okay, but the two of them were
fall into the fucking hollow earth.
They were not needed at all.
Yeah, they were the story arc.
They were not needed. They were not needed.
Didn't help. I mean, besides them stopping Mechagodzilla or damaging him, it didn't help at all.
Unless they wanted to add another fucking half hour to it, 45 minutes.
Yeah, take out that. Take out that, and if you're not going to increase the fighting scenes, give me more like what's Godzilla doing this whole time, because he just pops up, and the story really follows Kong.
Exactly.
Or also you can build some mystery of like have some scenes of a random space base that we don't know, or show show maybe something going on like out there to signify maybe there's going to be something coming our way that isn't quite.
Why wasn't Mechagodzilla being built in space somewhere? Because
seriously, I want
the sky.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Legendary and Toho, but I want the movie Matt pitched more than the one I saw. But yeah, so I would say a solid 4.5 out of 5. I think this movie is exactly what we needed during a pandemic. Like, it's just like a fuck everything else. Just throw this movie on. Yeah.
It's like I always say, this is junk food for your brain. It's a candy bar in the grocery store. You were walking through, you were a little hungry, and holy fuck, they got white chocolate Snickers. Like, that's what it is, and you can't not enjoy this movie unless you're actively trying not to. Like, yeah, you could pick shit apart like we did, but if you come away from this, you're like, I just didn't like that movie. You're trying not to like it. Like, there was scenes, especially at the end result, where, like, when they were fighting, where, like, I had just had a smile across my face. And, like, I'm just sitting there like, oh, holy shit. Like, when Mechagodzilla's fighting both of them, I'm like, fuck them up, Kong. Like, I was in it.
I guess this is probably a good analogy for you two, especially. But during the Kong and Godzilla fighting scene, it made me think of when we were younger and saw like a wrestling match with two of our favorite wrestlers. That's like the excitement I felt during that scene.
So,
Well, then when they first meet, they go right into it in that second battle.
Yeah.
It's fucking as soon as they see each other.
Yeah, so I would say 4.5 out of 5. And if you are watching this on HBO Max, which you probably are, they have the whole Toho collection. Go check it out. The old movies are cheesy and dumb, but it's cool to see the fucking rubber suits and all that.
Also, you can also catch up the other 3 movies of the 4.
Yeah, all of them are on there
They're all
now.
on HBO Max.
I want to say this, and
Watch them.
I do want to stress this. Buy it after it's off of HBO.
Yes, support it
Vudu,
because we'll get
iTunes,
more.
Amazon. It doesn't matter if you like it. Like I plan to fucking buy it. Just like one of these movies we'll be reviewing real soon will be Freaky because it's on sale on Vudu, and
It's a good movie.
I'm picking it up this weekend.
I do want to watch.
I know
that.
Alex really wants. I think Alex wants to see it as much as I do. So it's like
I've been waiting.
it's
saw
another
it.
stupid fun movie.
Cheaper than fucking 20.
It's on sale on Vudu for $9.99. I'm picking it up this weekend so we can watch it and we can review it. But yeah, like I don't know, man. It's like I said, I really enjoyed it. It brought me back to almost like even being in the theater in '96, watching Matthew Broderick's Godzilla. Like it still has that same like, holy shit, he's destroying the city. Like or
With the whole Taco Bell fucking, I think I need a bigger box guy, right? You don't remember the Chihuahua when Taco Bell?
Oh, you know who voiced the Chihuahua for Taco Bell, right?
That was one commercial.
Officer Garcia from Reno 911.
I don't know.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Look his resume up. He's actually done a lot of voice acting in cartoons.
Wow.
He voiced the Taco Bell dog.
Shit. That was the whole thing during fucking that
that's movie. Right, because they had the cups. They had the cups, yeah, the special, yeah.
And then Chihuahua came on and says, I think I need a bigger box.
Yeah, that was Officer Garcia. And he has a part in his stand-up where, like, because he was raised in, like, an upper-class, rich money area. And when in California, where his name was Carlos, I'm Carlos. And then only when he became an actor and in the entertainment industry did his name then become Carlos. Like, that's how they treated him.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, okay, so I'm going to give it... I'm teetering between 4.5 and 4 because I really did enjoy the movie. I'm going to go with 4.5 simply because, like, it delivered the premise it's supposed to. The rest of it, the story... and here's the thing, you got to have Millie Bobby Brown in because it's going to get you more funding because you got a big, the problem is they crammed people into, but they crammed people into this movie that didn't belong, like Lance Reddick, who you know from John Wick fame. He's the concierge, Quantum Break, several, The Wire, the really skinny black dude from John Wick who was the concierge to him. He's in this movie for
the conspiracy guy or no?
He's in no. He's in one scene and his line is, "Should we evacuate the city?" And you see him one more time at the end, but he doesn't have another line. That's all they give him, and he's a great actor and a wasted potential of an actor for a character. Once again, was he supposed to come into the next movie as a bigger role? Or was this just a stupid fucking casting trying to get everybody they can to get as many eyes on it? Which, in my opinion, you get rid of Millie Bobby Brown, you get rid of Kiwi Boy, you keep the black guy, but make it you keep his role, but make it more substantial, and you get more funding by you get rid of the guy from Early Edition and Godzilla War of Monsters.
Since you didn't use him, yeah.
He was in 3 scenes where he just does the "I'm concerned" look, but he doesn't make any real. The end of the movie, he doesn't even know she's there. Right? They've evacuated the city. He doesn't know she's there.
He doesn't even react either.
Well, but
he's like, "What? You're here?"
Well,
I would have been like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
Like that's the thing is like so they basically just have him in a minute and a half of footage making worried father face, and so get rid of him. Whatever his budget was for him, put towards more fucking monster fighting. Like, if you're not going to do a good story and good characters, get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make it all death and destruction. That's what I want to see anyways. But yeah, for me, 4.5 hot dogs out of 5. Alex.
So 4.5 for the two of you. I agree, man. It's a fucking movie that just it you don't have to fucking be really into it to watch it. And there was that whole I'm gonna be honest, 30 minutes, which was the whole Millie Bobby Brown, the kid from fucking Belschnickel, and this guy. But I did like his fucking conspiracy theory. I did like his fucking role.
I liked him a lot. I like him as an actor a lot. I want to see him in more shit.
If they didn't have him, if they didn't have Millie Bobby Brown being interested in him, would he have been in the movie?
Well, he maybe not, but the whole problem with it is his character's got issues too, though, because like he goes from intelligent conspiracy guy to bubbling fucking buffoon.
Yeah.
And then at the end he does it again where he's like a fucking like, oh my god, yeah, he's like a bumbling fucking fanboy.
Yeah.
But then he goes back into that bumbling buffoon.
And back. And
so
I am so tired in Hollywood of one-dimensional characters, especially when you find an actor I like him as an actor, and they underutilize him in this pitiful role where it's like he's basically used for comedic relief.
And they put him with people that shouldn't have been with him, though.
By the way, I'm tired of Hollywood trying to make Millie Bobby Brown older than what she fucking is. Both in the media, how they sexualize her, and in movies, how her hair is pulled back so tight she looks like a 30-year-old fucking woman. I'm sick and tired of this now 15 or 16-year-old girl being fucking prostituted around to try to be made sexualized. Let her be a kid. She wasn't a kid in this movie. That's the problem. In the other movie, she was a kid. In this movie, they go, no, fuck that. We already got one girl. She's deaf. You got to be an adult now. And that's a problem. I'm tired of that in Hollywood. Let them be what they're supposed to be. When she's a woman and is in roles, that's one thing. But it's like, I'm not going to take a 16-year-old seriously trying to save the world.
Yeah, she shouldn't have been in the whole thing. And the fucking Belschnickel. Oh my god, we keep calling him Belschnickel. He should have been in there. So those were the only two that I was like really fucking like against. We did say the father, and I agree. You guys said the father. I agree. He should have been there because he really did not make a fucking difference in the fucking movie.
He didn't help anybody do anything besides evacuate the city.
30 minutes to 40 minutes of time that could have been used towards other stuff. But I did fucking like the whole fucking fighting scenes. I did love. We talked earlier. The fighting scenes in the water, that was fucking awesome. Kong going underwater, Kong fucking saving everybody that was in the boat by flipping the fucking boat back over and then getting on top. And then after they released him, he how he fucking unleashed and fucking launched from boat to boat.
Yeah,
that was a little weird for me, but
I still thought it was neat though. And when he was doing that, I was like, because here once again, I'm like a kid. I'm like, he's gonna hop him, and sure enough, he starts. I
did the same thing. I did the same thing, but it was kind of cool to see it happen. But it wasn't believable. But yeah, it was still good. But all in all, man, I'm gonna have to say 4.5 myself, man, because
another unison.
One of those movies. This was one of those movies that was just. You were watching it. You were waiting to see it. You saw it happen. You saw what was going on with Kong. You saw what was going on with fucking Godzilla. You saw what was going on with Mecha Godzilla, and how he fucking got taken out afterwards. You're like, holy shit, yeah, I like it. I love it.
I also want to say, get rid of some of the characters. Maybe I don't know. Explain the fucking technology of your reverse gravity engineering.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're just basically like this. The dude just like. We have the greatest technology that we have to do this.
We didn't need a daughter in that fucking shit.
I wanted her to die from moment one she was on screen, and I was so glad that bitch bit the dust. Get out of here, you Gina Carano ripoff. Fuck off.
Thank you, Kong, for your fucking grip.
Yeah. When he grabbed it, I'm like, eat the bitch. I'm so tired of this. Like
I was waiting for that too. I was waiting for fucking like.
By the way, the last shot of Kong at the end of the fight when he's got Mecha's head and it's just that shot of his face and the oil and shit dripping down from the spinal column of Mecha as he's just roaring, it's like, yes! Because then
what he was doing, right? He was trying to drink the fucking blood, but he couldn't do it because he was a robot.
Well, he did that in the beginning when he ripped the head off of one of the green monsters and is just like, just going to town on it.
And then fucking Skarsgård was like, gross.
Him also. How do you know how to fly a fucking spacecraft? If he's a nerd guy who's got a failure in his field, relegated to the basement next to the pool equipment or whatever he said it was, yet you can fly a technology that frankly shouldn't exist spacecraft.
I did like the callback though with the sign language where they called him a coward.
Yeah.
And he says you're brave, and she's like, and she laughs and she's like, okay. I like that. I
like the touch of her feeling Kong's heartbeat too. That was a cool scene.
I liked her as an actress. We didn't talk about her as much.
The little girl's great. It's one of the few kid actresses I didn't hate, probably because she didn't have a single fucking line. But
yeah, that's kind of one of the things. But they always say that kids and animals are the hardest thing to work with. She did a great job.
I was great with the kid being the focus for Kong because I didn't have to worry about some weirdly sexualized blonde chick that a giant monkey apparently wants to do.
Exactly. And also because Kong is not fucking verbal. And
he's also way older. Like you could see he's aged from Skull Island.
Well, that's where I got at too about how old is she really? They said that the time.
Give me 10 minutes on that instead of fucking Millie Bobby Brown crawling through vents.
Okay, I get you. Yeah,
give me more story about the little girl. Let me see. Tell me if Alex's theory is right, because that would be kind of cool if that's been his buddy for fucking 40 years. I'm just saying.
Because they did mention that, or God, what's his name? John C. Reilly, or
John C. Reilly.
He did say in that first movie that time is different here, or time is different for them. Time is different for them. I think he said.
I don't know if that was like the legitimate but that's also. The only hole I can poke into the theory is once you're off that island, theoretically that shouldn't apply and you should be dust. So,
but she was with Kong because her whole family died.
But Kong aged though, so if Kong is aging though, that means they should age too. I just don't know at what rate. That's the thing. But once again, less vent crawling.
When was she found?
No fucking clue. It's just the only reason you know that is because the one line they give it about how her parents died and the lady took her in.
That was just my thoughts. Yeah.
So thanks, guys. Now I'm gonna have to watch WandaVision. By the way, I was just thinking about that. It's gonna probably be tomorrow because we're gonna hang out by the 4K TV.
You could do it all in one day. I enjoyed it.
I'm not gonna do it all in one day because I enjoy my fucking sanity. All right, guys. Giving our reviews. Good news though. Episodes will now be out Mondays. So when we say check the YouTube, the Spotify episodes will be out tomorrow for the past two episodes, but you have the Boss Level and Dark and the Wicked, or Afraid and the Wicked, or whatever, I forget what it's fucking called. That's out there on the YouTube, and then you've got the Snyder Cut episode is out there on the YouTube. Monday, this episode will be out there, so you guys, they'll all be on Spotify as well by that time. But new upload dates is Monday. And that way, if you want to catch up and we'll try to announce what we're watching. We don't know what we're watching for next week because Mortal Kombat kind of fucked up our whole roadmap, didn't it?
Yeah. Do you want me to say it?
Say what?
What's that? Off the line, on the line, whatever.
No. Oh, so now that you brought that up, you reminded me. No.
On the line?
No, you've already gotten me into the fucking trouble house with that one. So. She has now, my wife, has now suggested a wife's choice.
Oh, God.
To where I think Jen actually might want to be in on that episode to review that movie, but her choice is on the line.
Okay. And I'll do McKell's Navy with it, too.
That's not going to be one of the wife's choices. Believe me, if it was, I'd be fine with it.
It's going to be while you were sleeping. I don't want to do that shit.
Well, it's a wife's choice. Same thing with Shay. She gets a choice, too.
What would Shay pick?
Oh, God. She'd probably pick The Road or...
Oh!
I could do The Road.
The Notebook.
I don't like The Notebook.
I can do The Notebook, but not The Road.
I don't know. I'd have to ask her.
All right, well,
that was Jen's suggestion. For next week, I don't know what we're doing, to be honest with you. We'll have to talk about that. Maybe Freaky. We'll see. Also, it depends on, which is something we have to talk about. Do we still want to do the for sure 2-movie format, or do we like the one movie and discussing more about other stuff?
I guess we'll talk about that off air.
With that terrible disappointment, to quote Jeremy Clarkson, have a great day.
See you next week.
Bye. I love you.